everyone, just wanted to do an update on the Catasetum Fdk After Dark Sunset Valley Orchid. This is a part 2 of my previous video that was published on November 25th on the same orchid, and I said that I would do an update to show how long the blooms have lasted. And unfortunately, as you can see, most of the flowers have dropped. I only have 2 more left. Let me go to Sunset Valley's website, and if you recalled, I had this website up. It said that it would last, or it could last 6 to or more weeks, which it could last probably that long. Still don't know if it you know, we haven't proven that yet, but mine has only gone for about 2 weeks, and it could be because mine's very young. The longer and older, you know, the older the plant is, the more likely it will have bloomed, can bloom longer. So I'm going to, just in case you missed in the last video, let me give you a quick progression timeline of how the buds develop, or the stages of development. So when October 9th is when I start taking pictures of this orchid, and it's by now about maybe a week or 2 old. And so here's this is how big it is. It's about maybe 1 inch tall, and I would say about on the 9th, on the 1st is when I first discovered the spike. This is 20 days after the initiation of the spike, so it's very pronounced now. The buds are much more pronounced now. Okay, and then this is by October 31st, 1 month after initial start of the spike, you get a very long elongated inflorescence, and then about a month and a half, a month and a week or so. And I'm sorry, this is a nighttime picture, but it's just showing that the blooms are getting more plumped, and here it's showing that it's starting to open, and this is about a month and 2 weeks into spike development. And then so this is December 4th. This is actually not at its peak. It's starting to drop a few flowers, and I should have taken a picture of November 25th. If you look at the video, the first video of part 1 of this video, it will show the live orchid, the orchid live with all the buds opened, and it would be in its peak on the 25th, and that would be almost 2 months into spike development. And this is starting to, that's the 2nd month, but it's only been in full bloom since November 25th, so about a week. So, and this is starting to drop. You can see some of the flowers that it's dropped into the pot right there. And this is a side view of it, a different side view. And this is where some more flowers have dropped. The blooms have dropped, not buds, I'm sorry, they have opened and they're spent blooms. So I started with 12 buds. Now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 flowers left. So 3 have dropped, and then, well, December 8, a much more drastic change. I only have 2 left yesterday. Now today is December 9th, and this is what I still have 2 left. This is the youngest flower, the one that is last standing. You can tell that still some waxiness of it and fresh, still fresh looking. So that may last, I would say maybe 2 or 3 more days, not much longer. And this one is actually almost dropping a bit. If I touched it, it'll just drop. There are all those old spent bloom right there. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, two things. I am going to, since it's starting to, should start to go to dormancy soon, I think I'm going to go ahead and force it to go. And I'm not sure if others, if other people have their catasetum go into dormancy by now in the normal in a normal stage environment or a normal environment. But I'm in zone 9. It's fairly warm here, and I would say our daytime highs are 70 or sometimes 60, and then lows are in the mid 40s and mostly 50s. So I think, and I have mine in the sunroom, so it's getting fair amount of sun. So I think what I need to do is just force this into dormancy for mostly one reason. And you remember last time when I featured this orchid, it has 2 bulbs that are going bad, 1 and 2. In fact, it's gotten much worse. You can see there's like a either mold or fungus right here, right there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to cut this off and cut this guy off. I'm not sure what had caused that, but I need to go ahead and, for the benefit of the plant, the healthiness of it, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see. So I'm going to take the leaves off. I'm going to remove the leaves on the plant. Yeah, I'm going to probably eventually remove the leaves off the plant. So I have scissors and what do you call snippers that I have sterilized. I have washed them, and I've run it. I had a flame, run it through a flame, and sometimes I'll even wash with alcohol. This time I just scrubbed it with some soap and ran it through a flame as well. So it hasn't been repotted for, I would say, it hasn't been repotted for, I would say, close to 2 years, and it needs to get repotted anyway. So it's possible that the moss has gotten bad, or the watering. It's not super dry. I have kept it just slightly damp, and maybe it took a long time to dry out from the last time that I watered it, because it's been very cloudy in the sunroom and not drying this out. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and unpot this. And I'm going to take apart all the moss on it, because that would help dry it up. Oops, see how that last flower or that second to last is falling apart. Also, I want to talk real quick about this, why I think this is not a bloom blast thing. It's actually naturally, the bloom is naturally dying out, because as you can see, all these blooms are drying, and you know, it's not like you have a fresh bud that just blasted, that is still very what do you call it, waxy or very healthy looking. And if you look at the stem, it's also browning. and you can tell it's browning and it's dying out. So I think that was its natural longevity. That was its natural longevity, which was just a week, basically. So I'm going to take apart this and unpot it, and I'm going to remove the moss. And I hope, well, you know, it doesn't really matter if the roots are dying, because, you know, I have heard some people drastically just cut off all the roots anyway until the new growth have shown on next spring. So now it doesn't stink, so it's nothing's rotting. It's just fairly moist. And you know, these two bulbs have been around for a while. It's the original two bulbs, so it's possible that it's just lived its life and it just needs to go. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to unpot all this, clean all this up, and I'm going to store it bare root. I'm going to just let it dry out and store it, wrap it in some paper and just let it dry out and wait till spring. And usually it's February that I see a new growth. And this year I will, this is something I've done differently this year. I usually leave it in its original sphagnum moss and just leave it, you know, until I see a new growth and then repot it. But this time I'm going to actually let it dry out and take all these moss out and store it bare root. So that's something different. But basically, yeah, I'm going to remove this bulb. I think it's about to go, and then definitely this bulb, and cut this off. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching. And I'm going to cut all these leaves off too.